This is
Make It Plain.
Make It Plain.
MIP
With Masamela Matfumo.
Mark Thompson.
Make It Plain.
Get woke.
Folks, we welcome back to Make It Plain. One of my closest comrades from the Democratic Coalition. You know him on Twitter at Funder. He founded the Impeachment Task Force, and it worked. He was heavily involved in Joe Biden winning and mobilizing all of us to help him win, and mobilizing for us to win those Senate seats, mobilizing for us to win that special election in Georgia. He's here once again. Scott Dworkin joins us. Hey, man, how are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing, well, better than I was, 5 years ago, for sure.
Yeah.
And we've talked about on your show, I meant to say, yesterday was historic, and we have been talking about it for years, where they obviously announced the criminal investigation in the Trump organization.
Yeah. No, that's a big deal. And you and I have also articulated, people talking about 2024. We don't know whether he'll be locked up.
Correct.
I've been saying to people all day, man, as a matter of fact, Scott, in a football or basketball game, 4 minutes is an eternity.
Mm-hmm.
The score can change.
Right.
So in politics, 4 years is an eternity.
Right.
So you go from him losing in 2020 to 2024. I mean, and you think about the average full criminal investigation, it takes a couple of years. Mm-hmm. It doesn't take 10, rarely takes 5, but the timetable, I also don't think Tish James would have announced that, because, prosecutors don't announce things unless they got all their ducks lined up.
Correct.
And she would not have said that if they did not have the goods on him. So we don't know, folks. He might be locked up. He's talking about running. He might be locked up. Plus, as you and I have also agreed, if you and I ate Big Macs for each of our 3 meals a day, we'd probably be dead by 2024 too. Even have you ever seen a McDonald's commercial that says, "Eat our food as your only meal all day"? They don't even promote that. So and I don't wish death on anyone, but he wished it on us with COVID. Let's be honest. I mean, he didn't care about us dying. Yeah. I don't wish that on him, but dude admits, "Hey, Big Macs is all I eat. I like Big Macs." And so either something's going to happen from those Big Macs, even though he's the healthiest president in the healthiest human being on on earth. So that's big. And hey, man, them children, those kids aren't off the hook either. This is the Trump organization.
Yeah, in 2004, just as a 4-year comparison, 2004, Barack Obama was very little known. In 2008, he was elected president. And that rise was really over 2.5-year term, kind of in regards to the investigation. This is expansive. You're not going to let the press know that there's a criminal investigation and get everybody's hopes up in regards to accountability and justice without there being a clear, it would have to be a felony level offense, at least one, if not an entire conspiracy. And especially with I don't know what his company's worth or whatever, but with an established company in New York City, I just wouldn't think that, especially Tish, Miss James, she would never, ever do that. She was very careful about what she says and what she does. She knows there's like a triple standard with her, right? And so she's very careful about how she says things and what she says, and her office saying this and confirming it and backing it up is very clear that there's going to be a Trump that is in trouble right now. Without a doubt, they wouldn't do that without that.
Does the ouster of Liz Cheney help our side?
Yes.
Is it negligible or just kind of even? What do you think?
It just makes them look worse. I think they're eating their own, turning on each other, and it looks bad nationally at a time of crisis. They've done nothing, like nothing good, that is. And so you're pushing out Liz Cheney, and the backfire from that, you can start with this investigation, because right now you have these Republicans who are still backing the former guy, and they're like, oh, well, if we back Trump, then we'll be fine and we'll be good. And now they see these investigations. Now they see Gates. Now they see Marge, and they start to line up. And it's like, maybe these people are as terrible as they seem in reality. And so it is, I have never seen so much corruption, but I can tell you that I am very happy with the direction that the country is going in regards to justice. It takes a while to get that footing. I mean, they're so methodical in regards to how they're investigating things. Let's just say with the January 6th attack at the Capitol, they are able to isolate who was where and when on an individual basis. For the most part, the entire crowd that went inside. And so that is just like they had to go through everything. You have indictments and everything. And you have these court cases, which are going to really start tail end of this year. They're going to delay them as much as they can. And you're going to hear over and over and over again for the next year and a half. Well, he brainwashed me. He was the one who told us to go there. He said he was marching out in front. I didn't actually see anybody break open the doors. I thought that Trump went in there. And you're going to see all these excuses, and some of them are legit in their mind, as in that's what they were really thinking. They were thinking that he's out in front, he's leading the charge. And then they start to look at things and they're like, I'm in prison and he is not helping me. And he acts like he doesn't know me. And we tried to call him, we tried to reach out to him, and he just ignores us. And so I'm trash to him. And so they turn on him. There is a never-ending circle here. And while they're doing that, we're going to do the work. And I just don't think that you can get out from under this. And so Liz Cheney's brilliant move here is to get ousted, but she would not have gone up against without knowing all variables. So my guess is that people forgot that her dad is Dick Cheney, and he still gets briefings and he still knows intelligence. So whatever he knows about January 6th and other factors about Trump, she knows as well, for sure. And so she knows the projection of everything and where things are headed. And it's pummeling towards failure. And so I'm not sure exactly why. The only explanations here are either blackmail schemes or stupidity, because they're not, I mean, traveling around just, briefly in like North and South Carolina and talking to friends in Florida, regular folks, people are just, even Republicans are just furious and confused. They don't understand why you wouldn't want to investigate this. And I tell them, you don't want to investigate this because some of them will be implicated in crimes, in felonies, and they don't want to be arrested, and they'll do anything that they can. They're like, oh, wait, this may be a bad idea because he called me. And if they have like a recording of that, or if Trump saved a recording of that, or if something happened here, they start to realize that, that's a bad idea. I shouldn't back an investigation into myself. And that's why McCarthy is out in front being like, I don't want, same thing with McConnell. These people were all in on the big lie. And that is what led to January 6th.
More MIP after this message. And we know that some of them, we don't know who all, but we know some of them had some of those folk come up the day before and the days before to do reconnaissance, or as folk used to say, case the joint.
Well, they did it for months. Yeah, they did it for months and months, where they would actually go on Capitol tours. And now I'm not sure about the day before in regards to the tours, but I do know that there have been people who were inside of that Capitol building during the insurrection that also went on tours of the Capitol months before that. And so reconnaissance, that's what they would call it. And people don't recognize, like, that's what a terrorist does. You case the place, and then you're like, okay, what can we do to soften everything? And what can we do to manipulate the security presence? And Donald did everything he possibly could to make it so that it was easiest as possible to breach the Capitol. And somehow the folks were able to get through, even through everything, outnumbered, outmanned, and they just had no chance. But still, luckily, it was not a complete bloodbath. I think that if it were not a bunch of crazy white men, it would have been a different story. Well, they would have been caught in the first place. They would have never been able to go to the Capitol because it would have been a terrorist cell. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what we're dealing with, these terrorist cells, and we need to shut them all down.
Yeah, they would have gone to their houses and shot them like they did.
Absolutely. Yes, yeah.
But this is interesting, though. I was part of another show recently where we were talking about, it hadn't aired yet. I'll let everybody know when it airs. But we were talking about artificial intelligence.
Right.
Dynamic African-American woman who has a PhD in the field, believe it or not. And she's a part of Amazon, and she's a part of the effort to change the algorithms so that the algorithms for facial recognition are not so white. Right now, people of color and with certain features, the algorithms don't pick up. But here's the irony in that. To your point, everybody at the Capitol on the 6th was white. That's why they got him. Because facial recognition identifies them. So you've got and 60 Minutes did a story on it recently. They'll put an African American suspect in the AI, and it'll come back with a bunch of people. Some of them look like me, and they can't figure it out. But for these jokers, it was two. So that's the opposite. That's where it backfired. They went and got those folks singled out. And you're right. I think they're going to do it. They're going to pay for that and have second thoughts when they're in prison. But here's the other thing about Liz Cheney, because what you're also talking about is not as abstract as people think. Oh, we just don't like Liz Cheney because she's against the big lie. You're right. You took the words out of my mouth. She knows something. Yeah. And she said last week on one of the Sunday morning shows that Kevin McCarthy was eligible to be subpoenaed. And the real said, what are you saying? And she didn't want to get into it. She said, yeah, he's probably going to be subpoenaed. So it's not just we don't like her. Kevin says, we got to get her out of here. Right. We can't have this commission, and we can't have her because I know what I did.
he attempted to cover it up. He doesn't want. He wants it to go away. He doesn't want to meet with. He refuses to meet with Officer Fanone, who has asked for a meeting countless times, and he's been called out for that. I know that Kevin McCarthy is not the biggest fan of mine. Every day, pummeling him online and trying to get the truth out there. I mean, it's really simple. Liz Cheney, I think what will happen, and I know this is a little mind-boggling, in order for the Republicans to save their party after this probe starts and when the truth starts to trickle out of how dangerous it was and how involved members of Congress were, I think we're going to see Liz Cheney move into a leadership position, possibly as the minority leader, and then have Adam Kinzinger and people like that actually step to the front. I think donors are going to make that happen. Mitt Romney, another person who's going to lead the party, I think as well. It's going to be the people who supported impeachment, because when you have Trump or his kids indicted, you have to separate yourself from that immediately, because they know that that is the first domino to fall of many. It's not just going to be one thing. It's stop in 2022. This is the end of his political career. There is nothing that he can do about this right now. And keep in mind, there are probes going on in other states at the moment as well. Whether or not they're criminal, I think it's yet to be decided or announced. But they're like everything that we've said is actually happening. What actually stopped everything was their obstruction, which was so harsh. It goes beyond the pale. And then we have the issue of him spying on Americans, including journalists. I would guess that he was spying on you and I and people like us, especially. Like, why wouldn't you want to spy on the dude who is pushing Russia and your ties, business ties, harder than anyone in the world, right? I can't wait to just pop it open and see everything inside of here. But everything seems to take time. But I can tell you that things are moving, and when they start to go here, it's not just going to be the insurrection or the Mueller report or all the extensive probes into his business ties and everything that he's done, and Rudy Giuliani getting his door knocked down, Cohen, Flynn, like everyone that we've talked about has been arrested, is now bankrupt, has no power or little power, and except for Donald. And so that last kind of person we're trying to make sure that he's made an example out of, because we cannot afford to ever have someone in power like him again. So if like Marge Green comes out and she's talking whatever, we don't ignore her if she's trending. We take over that trend, right? And we have to remind people who she is. We cannot ignore these people. We need to confront them peacefully and make sure that they know exactly where we stand on the truth. And one thing that people may forget, I guess, in addition, is in 2022, I can tell you this. I focused on no House races in 2020, zero. There was like one that we worked on sort of, but in 2022, our focus, we're not going to have to worry about the White House. We're not going to have to worry about DOJ cheating to help the candidates. Like there's a lot of things here where it's going to be more fairness. And I think that they're getting ready for a big wipeout. The big blue wave, I think, is coming in 2022. I just wanted to get that in there as well.
But everybody says that party in power loses in the midterms. You're saying that is not going to be the case. I hope you're right.
Yeah, as of right now, they have no chance. Like the numbers just don't align for a takeover, and they don't have the candidates to do it as well. We already have people that are raising money that are better candidates, like by far, and polling ahead of everybody. And I think that it's going to be 15. We'll win 15 to 20 seats advantage.
They have Herschel Walker, Scott.
I mean, if I were to comment on him, I'm guessing it goes up on his Twitter. Hey, Herschel. I don't
know.
I never understood. I'm a white dude, overprivileged, like all that stuff. So I just never understood in different races how you could support the Republican Party if you're not a white dude. Like I don't understand that, because it only benefits white dudes. Like I don't understand why anybody could.
You're right. It's incomprehensible. Yeah. But in terms of the Senate, so you mentioned the House. Yeah. How are you feeling about the Senate too?
Oh, I'm feeling good about the Senate. I am feeling good about the Senate, and I can tell you that like our focus is going to be North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Florida is going to be probably on one of the lower ends of it, just because it's Florida, and we can make a big difference in the other states. We have more power in the other states. Florida is like 7 states in one, and so we we'll obviously push there, but it's going to be with 2 statewide races. It's going to be a focus as well.
If anybody has a chance in Florida, it probably is Val Demings. I mean, I think she's a great candidate. But you're right. I was talking to Marcos at Daily Coast, and he was saying just Florida is just a weird place, and it always breaks our hearts. But we'll fight. We'll do what we need to do.
If anybody can win, it would be Rep Demings. And I think statewide, you have either Charlie Crist or Nikki Fried. Fried's won statewide, so is Crist. And so those are great candidates that can go up against the fold there.
More MIP after this message. So, but what on earth are we going to do about Joe Manchin?
So I have worked extensively in West Virginia over the last few years, just on with the leadership there and other people. Sadly, Joe Manchin is the best we're going to get there. Why he's playing games like this, I don't like political posturing. I don't like people making decisions so I can get reelected, so I can ride the fine line in West Virginia. But I have a feeling that there's more going on behind the scenes than we know about. And there's a lot more pressure on him than just the public. Not that that's not enough or anything like that. But I'm pretty sure that the White House and the administration and everybody else is putting pressure on him, and also some Republicans to kind of change. I do not like anyone using the filibuster, acting like, oh my God, it's like a 1-inch wall, right? And they're like, we can't walk past this wall. It's the filibuster. And I'm like, who cares? What are you talking about? People are dying. Get it together. Do your job. And it just goes back to that simple fact that, the pageantry, we've got to make sure that we go through the motions and move as slow as possible. No, get over it. Do your job, man. We're not going to forget this. Right. And so if he wants to stall things, if he wants to be the blockade, if he wants to be the reason why we don't pass voting rights, where we don't pass a hate crimes bill, where we don't pass any bills that actually matter and help people and save people's lives, then I would question, like, why are you in the Senate in the first place? What are you doing? What are you doing there? Yeah. What are you doing to help people? Maybe work on these bills and help West Virginians through these bills. Get the help. If you can leverage that help in the bills, then he could get more help for his state.
You're right. I don't get it either, or what he's up to, but he's not helping us, and it is a lot of posturing. So
I think he'll be a great reason why I mean, he'll be a great example of we need to expand the Senate. Here's one reason why. We can't have one person being the decider of whether a bill gets signed into law.
Right.
We can't have that. We can't afford that. And if we have more latitude, like 3 or 4 more Senate seats, then no one has that power really. And that's what we kind of need. We need to ram things through. We just need to get it done like we've been doing, but just keep on moving the ball as fast as possible. But again, sadly, Manchin is by far the best that we will ever get from West Virginia as of now.
I get that. What about Sinema though in Arizona? She's kind of Manchin-like these days.
Wants to be, yes. There's rumors of a potential primary against her. I think people underestimate her in regards to what she's trying to accomplish or what she's doing. She is tenacious and cutthroat, and it would be very hard to primary her and beat her. Also, she in person, it's like a different kind of person than she's conveyed in the media. Very genuine, very down to earth, very nice. A leader who speaks well and knows topics of issues in depth. It's caught this wave of like the indecisiveness and this acting like the Joe Manchin kind of thing is just enraging people to a level, especially in her state after the Kelly won his election. They want somebody like him. They want someone who stands for something, not someone who's like, well, I don't know if I'll waffle so I can get press coverage. And that's what I feel like it is it's kind of like, well, here's an opportunity for me to act like I'm on the fence or vote against this because I'm the decider. And it just, that's a game. At least Manchin has the political calculus of if I vote for this bill just how it is, I will lose and will never get a seat back here again. Like, I understand that argument. With Sinema, like, again, I think that somebody like Ruben Gallego might step up. I did not talk to him about this at all, but I think somebody like that might step up and be like, you know what? We don't like these games anymore. And I think again, I think she'll get more of I don't want to say this in the wrong way. She'll present herself in a more senatorial way in respect to, the McCains and like that. Not in the, I don't think she knows how to do the leverage point yet. And until she gets that negotiating style down and has enough power to actually do so, it's just like, it's an uncontrolled whether or not you're going to vote this or that. You can't have that in politics in general. Again, Manchin has the argument of I'm going to lose and we'll never get it back. With Sinema, Arizona's need better leadership, and they just don't have it at the moment. So I hope that she returns to her old style. I remember how big of a fan I was for years, and I don't know what's changed, but I think once the smoke clears and things settle down, I think she'll hit her groove, and maybe we'll be allies again.
That would be nice. That's what we need. Folks, he's also got a podcast, the Dworkin Report, very popular. Follow him at Funder. He's very busy, organizing all the time, and he keeps the rest of us busy. And I appreciate him. He gives me assignments. Keep them coming. You all could stand some too. It's one thing to have a feeling or a sentiment, but what Scott has been able to do with social media, because there's a lot of chatter, but Scott translates that into action, and genuine organic responses from people's voices that actually matter. And we need more of that. And he's able to do it virally, because Lord knows we've got a lot of other viral chatter, especially on Twitter, and we don't know where it's coming from. We don't even know if it's legitimate or if these are real people. But what Scott's doing is real, and that's important to offset some of the other stuff that's happening. So follow him at Funder. Get involved with the Democratic Coalition. He's going to be with us more and more in the days and weeks to come as we get ready and ramp up for next year. Everything's political. The DA who said Andrew Brown Jr.'s homicide was justified is running for a Superior Court seat. So nothing is just innocent in terms of some of these people's decisions. Scott, as always, we appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for all the work you've done as well. I don't believe that Trump would have been under criminal investigation if you hadn't been exposing the truth over the last few years. Just FYI. That's my feeling.
Well, thank you, sir. All of us. Thanks for getting woke and listening to Make It Plain. Please remember to listen, like, and wherever you get your podcasts, please give the show a 5-star rating. And please do spread the word. Let's all continue to pray for each other during this pandemic and this police-demic. If all hearts and minds are clear, it has been made plain.